Do you want me to do picture first?
Sure.
Can everybody wave? Wave, John. There we go. I got enough. Okay. Now let me go to slides.
And we are live on Facebook. We're also recording. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Rutenberg, and today I'm the MC. So lucky to have Nicole Malone, who's going to present to us shortly. But welcome to 1 Million Cups, Fairfax chapter, the best chapter in America. And next slide, please. So almost everyone here, and I just want to quickly look in the room, has been here before. So quickly, let's give kudos to Kauffman Foundation for promoting entrepreneurship, to promote education, and to increase opportunities. Next slide. Really, really important. We're trying as a group of organizers to manage some KPIs. The very first one is our attendance. We need the aqua blue and to go up. That was July 5th meeting. So if you were at July 5th meeting, but forgot to register or didn't know how, you can actually just click on the QR code and it will take you to a place where, among others, you have the ability, excuse me, to register. We get credit with Kauffman for registering, but more critically to the organizers who are trying to build attendees, build the presenters, and also are seeking organizers. Those are our three main measurements that we're agreeing as a group to evaluate ourselves on. So having said that, please register for today's event. It'll show up in next week's statistics. And if you missed last week, not if you missed the meeting, but if you forgot to register. I missed the meeting and I voted 3 times. So anyway, please do register. Next slide, please. Thank you to the organizers and the ambassadors. We need your help, guys. We need more presenters. We need more attendees. Next slide, please. I think everyone knows the mission. And in the interest of getting Nicole on stage, please read quickly, and next slide, please. It's always important to emphasize that we make presentations, no pitches. I feel pretty authentic with everyone in the room. Almost, I know everyone pretty darn well at this point, and I think it's a shared factor. Next slide, please. Really kudos to George Mason for opening themselves to us. And with that, let me bounce the ball to Jen, who's our coffee sponsor this month.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. Mason Enterprise Center in Fairfax has been a great partner. Please join us there the first Wednesday of each month. They are an amazing incubator that has access to all kinds of targeted launch programs if you're trying to work with government, things like that. They also have dedicated mentors. So just have to give them a big, huge shout out for being a great partner. As you can see, I am a coffee sponsor as well. And so cheers. Hopefully you have your own coffee. I'm not going to be shipping it to you, but in person, you'll get coffee as well. If you want to be a coffee sponsor, you can. If instead you want to work on your personal brand or your company brand, please reach out to me, Jen Dalton with Brand Mirror, and you can also scan the QR code and join me there as well. So have a great Wednesday. Thank you again for joining us, and see you next Wednesday too.
It's awesome. Thank you. This goes without saying. We have a decorum for our meetings. Everyone in the room knows that. Next slide, please. I think everyone can read it. I think everyone's aware of it. We're idea builders, not idea busters, right? So you can build or bust. And I think everyone here is a builder. So next slide, please. Great. Hey, it's my pleasure to introduce Nicole. Shortly, when Nicole is finished speaking, Melinda is our moderator. And the good news is we did it in 7 minutes or less, so we get right to the presenter and Q&A. So a round of applause to Nicole for sure for doing this, and we're ready to go. Thank you, Nicole. You're on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm Nicole Malone. I am the owner and CEO of Dark Horse Nutrition. I'm based in Reston, Virginia, but I provide services nationwide. So I am certified in nutrition as well as senior nutrition. I don't like saying geriatric, so 65 plus. And I'm presenting today because this is a new industry in a way. What I'm trying to do is not being done in the senior communities, such as a Brightview or home care services. So my challenge question is, I'm trying to work on crafting a value proposition for senior communities as well as home care service providers on delivering consulting, workshops, nutrition assessments for the staff, seniors, as well as the family caregivers. Next slide. I don't know if you want me to go more in depth about, okay, cool. So a little bit about my business and what I'm trying to do. So I do one-on-one coaching as well as senior nutrition, which I call my corporate side, because I work in communities and home care. So those are my businesses. So I believe in adding nutrient dense foods to your diet rather than taking foods away. So when it comes to seniors, you know, an 85-year-old is not going to let me take something off their plate, or they're not going to listen to me or really want to change their diet. So I believe in adding foods in, not taking foods away, especially when it comes to seniors. So I do promote the low carb lifestyle. I do assist people over 40 to age gracefully and healthily through the power of nutrition. And I do this by, again, providing workshops, nutrition assessments, as well as customized nutrition and care plans. Next slide, please. So I launched my company back in June of 2020. So right in the middle of the pandemic, because I was furloughed as a federal government contractor. So I figured, why not? So I think that's pretty much all on this slide. So I've been in business for 3 years now, and the senior focus has been since the beginning of this year. So the last 7 months, I've been really focusing on senior nutrition. So I help clients develop a clear nutrition plan for a number of things. Nutrition is the most powerful medicine. So by taking care of your nutrition, you will experience increased mental clarity, sustained and lasting energy, because following a low carb lifestyle, you're not going to have the blood sugar roller coaster and the crashes and all that stuff. Improve sleep quality. And when it comes to senior specific, decreased falls, sarcopenia, malnutrition, dehydration, essentially helping seniors not be frail and weak as they age. So I generate revenue a couple different ways. Right now, it's one-on-one coaching, so individual as well as small group coaching. And then on the senior side, I have worked one-on-one with 60, 65, 70-year-olds. But when I'm talking seniors, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to get an 85-year-old to really change their diet. So when I'm talking seniors, I'm talking the communities, their families, as well as the home care, because that's really how I'm going to make an impact when it comes to seniors themselves on an individual level. So value proposition. So when it comes to the senior nutrition side, that's why I'm here, is to help me develop a value proposition for the communities to help them show value. Because again, this isn't being done. So I do nutrition assessments, coaching, consulting, workshops, education, and those sorts of things. My expertise is in obesity, diabetes, emotional eating, or sugar, carb addiction. And just general health, and of course, senior nutrition. So I provide personal nutrition and lifestyle plans. That's more one-on-one. When I'm talking seniors, I can do that for them. But my value for the businesses themselves is really to help the seniors stay out of the hospital and help them stay in independent and not transition to assisted. And that's done through education and consulting. And then the differentiator is, I've been obese myself, lost 65, almost 70 pounds so far. And I'm certified in senior nutrition, so there's not very many of me. And I'm the only one that I know of in the industry that is actually tailoring my services to the new senior niche. So I guess that's a huge differentiator, is I'm the only one doing what I'm doing and trying to do what I'm trying to do. Next slide. So my target audience are, again, seniors and their family caregivers. So again, I know I'm going to keep harping on this, but I'm not going to change an 85-year-old's diet, but their adult children are the ones who care, like people like my mother. So I really, really want to reach the families as well as, you know, the communities, the 55+ communities, retirement homes. I'm currently partnered with Brightview in Dulles, Sunrise in Bluemont, as well as Premium Home Healthcare in Fairfax. And my marketing channels right now, outside of networking, are social media. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and I do have a newsletter, but I need to get more consistent with that. Next slide. Competitors. So there's no other companies doing what I'm doing. There are things like Bayada and Inova and all that, but they don't work in senior communities. There's no one outside of a registered dietitian working in assisted and memory care. There's no one working with the independent residents. There's no nutrition consultant working with home care. So I really don't have any competitors, and that's part of the problem for me to break into this area. Bayada does have physical therapy, and some physical therapists do talk nutrition, but the problem with that is when you're talking 65+, that's a whole different ballgame, and they're not educated in that. And again, no nutrition coaching. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else on here. So my company, I do provide personalized nutrition planning, consulting, and I do work with seniors. I'm trying to reach their families as well, and the communities. Next slide. So I think this is back to the beginning. So yeah, so that's my big thing right now, is I'm having a lot of conversations, and a lot of companies in this industry know that nutrition is important. And they're very, very interested in me, you know, free speaking, but I'm trying to, you know, build a business here. So what I'm trying to do, just a little bit of background really quick, what I'm trying to do with the communities is different than home care, because it's a different target market. So with the communities themselves, I'm trying to continue with the workshops, work with their staff in the workshops, but I'm also trying to offer initial nutrition consulting for new residents coming in, specifically the independent residents who are still cooking and food shopping and not provided all 3 meals. And then with the home care, I'm trying to do the same thing, provide the workshops with their staff, like I'm doing with Premium Home Healthcare, but also be part of the initial assessment process with the nurse, include some nutrition questions. What chronic issues do you have? Do you have diabetes? Do you have high blood pressure? Are you obese? And those sorts of things. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to figure out how to market that and how to show the value, because again, this isn't being done. It's a whole new ballgame what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to curate my messaging and provide a value proposition as I have more conversations, if that makes sense.
That was a great presentation, Nicole. Let's everybody give her applause that you can't hear because we're all silenced. And I think I saw Carol and Mac's hand go up. But before I start, I just want to remind everybody, give other people time to also ask their questions. Ask one question and then let somebody else go. And if you've got another question, put your hand up after that, and then we'll get back to you after everybody's been called on. And with that, Carolyn, do you want to go ahead with your question?
Absolutely. Thanks, Melinda. Thank you, Nicole, for your presentation. It is very relevant in my life, especially because I was, thinking about I need a nutritionist because I am in that 40 plus range. Also had a situation with an aunt who's 85, who was dehydrated, ended up in the hospital, and the recommendation was you need to get with a nutritionist. And so this is very relevant, especially is directly relevant to my life. And so my question to you, first of all, congratulations for finding such a great niche. And just a suggestion that perhaps going to like local recreation centers that have senior events type of things, and being willing to put on workshops and doing hands-on kinds of things, because my 85-year-old aunt who was in the hospital has zero interest in changing her diet.
Right.
And so things like that, and you're certified and all that. So I just wanted to say congratulations. I'd like to reach out to you as well, because I was going to ask my physician to give me a recommendation for a nutritionist as well. But now that I know you, why not? Thank you, Melinda.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, I am looking to chat with some senior communities. But yeah, if you, Carolyn, since you are dealing with this, and I know there's a couple other questions, but if you have any ideas things that would interest your aunt to make things more engaging for the seniors, that would be super helpful too. If you know what some things that maybe your aunt would enjoy listening to, like that she would, an educational component that would engage her. I'm looking for that kind of information too.
Oh, awesome. I will see what I can do. She's very vocal, so I can ask for sure.
Next, we have 3 hands raised. I think it's Dan, Ken, and Jen. And it looks like that's the order you guys are in, so I'll just do it that way.
Hey, and I'll try to be brief, but no promises. Thank you for the presentation. Earlier in my life, and I'm still licensed as a pharmacist, and I was also a certified diabetes educator. And my first business was working. I would work with the dietitian, and we would help people with diabetes or weight loss, or they had high blood pressure or high cholesterol, to lower their and they would see fasting blood glucoses and other test results that they had never seen before. The challenge is it was very hard to get paid for it in the conventional medical system, because physicians get like less than 1 day of training in their medical training in the importance of nutrition. So my advice is to, and this may not be what you want to do, but if you want to make money at this and be successful, then my advice is to not work within the conventional medical system and don't market to those people, because people think it's great and groups will love to have you come and speak, but they won't pay you, right? Or the advice is very limited. So you have to seek an elevated level of clientele that want to change, that have the resources. And this is not necessarily politically correct, but the people that want to pay for your service and will pay for your service. Otherwise, you're gonna give a whole lot away for free and not making money at it. So anyway, that's the short version. So I'd be glad to tell you at another time everything that I've learned. Hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, I definitely like to schedule a call. And there are some communities who are open, like Brightview did pay me, and hopefully we can get Sunrise on board. But yeah, I'm experiencing exactly what you are describing, just hitting my head against a brick wall. But yeah, I definitely love to chat offline and talk more about your experience.
Next, we have Ken, then we have Jen, then we have John Foster, and then I'm going to jump in.
There we go. That should be much better. Nicole, it was great to hear about your unique approach and your personal background that helped you to come to this. I'm going to piggyback on top of Dan Lender, I think in a slightly more intense way. The key, I think, to crafting your value proposition is clearly identifying who your customer is. And who your customer is the person who pays the bill. And so if for example, you're thinking that the adult children of aging parents is your market, then your value proposition is going to be different than if it's the manager of a Sunrise who wants to impact the practices of their dietitian. And so right now, the impression I get is that you have lots of different approaches to different components of the senior care business that you're targeting for your customers, but that it's not clear to me in your presentation really that you have a customer in mind that you want to get to next. It's hard to go from sunshine to senior care, in-home, all of that. And all of the messaging is going to be different because the value proposition for those people is going to be different. End of story. Great show. I really hope this works for you.
Yeah, that's fair. So the reason and it's in this industry is tough because I'm not going to get very many seniors to work with me one-on-one. So when I talk seniors, I am talking more so the communities and the home care. But I understand what you're saying with the messaging is different between home care and communities and the value proposition. I am trying to craft a message and materials for the people, for management who are the ones who are all about money and going to pay me. And that looks different than what I'm marketing to the seniors and the families. So I'm trying to market to the Bright Views and the Sunrise on what they care about, and all they care about is money, unfortunately. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this beneficial for them from a financial standpoint.
On a specific question for a senior care home, do they make more money or do they make less money when somebody transitions from independent to assisted? If they make less money when somebody transitions to assisted, that's your value proposition. If they make more money when they transition to assisted, you're beating your head against the wall. I'm going to keep you from making more money. I'm going to just appeal to your heart and how nice you are to want to keep people in independent living instead of, no, we make more money in assisted. Stop that. So that's the kind of thing in terms of focusing your value proposition, really getting under the covers, and you're there. You say they're all about the money. So your value proposition in that context. Enough said. Let me pass it on to somebody else.
Okay, next is Jen Dalton, then John Foster. John Rutenberg, I will let you go before me, and then I'll go after you.
Nicole, great presentation. I put a link to the Brightview website and chat just for folks on the call. One of the things that I think most senior living facilities have and market is we provide culinary experiences and we craft meal plans. And I think there's an education opportunity to delineate what does that mean and how is that different from what you do as a certified nutritionist and a coach for seniors. I think it's actually an opportunity as you market to places like Brightview, where if you are featured on their website as we have a dedicated nutritionist that goes above and beyond the culinary experience, when your family member is brought into our facility, the first thing we do is nutrition assessment. We make sure that their meals are accurate and not just at the whim of the senior or their family members, but informed. Then all of a sudden that really is painting you as a value add, which can help family members feel comfortable with who's taking care of their most important person in their life that they're spending a lot of money on. So I do actually think you can help them, whether it's charge more to help them have a better value proposition for their own families who are considering, putting one of their parents, etc., into care. So I would think about, there are a lot of horror stories about how seniors have challenges with food and at care facilities. And so I think really highlighting, it's great if somebody has a culinary chef, but that may not actually be what your senior needs. They actually need nutrition, consulting, and coaching to help them have a longer and healthier life. So I would pursue that path as you're marketing to these facilities, is that it's actually a value add and an additional service that can provide a lot of competitive advantage potentially.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that. I just have to work on crafting the message, but I think that's a fair point, because they'll be more apt. The families will be more apt to, purchase a independent or assisted home in those facilities if they know for sure that their parent is going to be taken care of nutrition wise. Because I've heard a lot of family, adult children really afraid to leave until they are comfortable that their parent ate enough. And so I know it's a huge problem. It's just trying to show that to the people who are likely going to be paying me or hiring me as a contractor. It's just been a lot of conversation and a lot of not going very far, but maybe I can dig down a little deeper on the families.
Okay, next we've got John Foster and then John R. The John Show.
Yep. Nicole, well, I so appreciate what you're doing in your presentation. And then Jen putting up the Bright View, and looking at the website, and food is a huge challenge there. And when they're talking about getting together and how great it is to get together for a burger and a beer, that's not going to do a whole lot for your health. And so and Nicole, as we've talked about a couple times, on this call and stuff, is the challenge is there's no money in good health or good food. And so one of the things I'll suggest to you, just as maybe a point of leverage, and I've actually had conversations with a couple of the case managers at a couple rehab, not rehab, but physical rehab facilities that are looking for nutritionists. And so, I'm thinking about points of leverage where you've got a case manager that's got, it's handling, I don't know how many cases they're handling, but they're handling a bunch of cases and need, they're just trying to deal with the cases, and then the specifics in the cases they need help with. So I was curious on as far as your relationships with Brightview and some of the others, do they just have you in as a resource? Is that?
So Sunrise, right now, I'm talking to their staff on August 1st. That's the first step to hopefully contract. Brightview has paid me to give workshops for their residents, but that's as far as I have gotten so far when it comes to communities. And the One Home Care, again, I'm just working with their staff with the workshop. So that's pretty much as far as I've gotten with the communities and the home care outside of working one-on-one with the seniors themselves.
Got it. Okay. I praise you for, what you're doing, because there's certainly a huge need out there.
Yeah. And that's why it's frustrating, because I know there's a huge need, but it's like, what the heck, people?
I know. Yeah. We should talk, in the next week or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Next, we have John Rutenberg.
Thank you. And Nicole, thank you again for presenting. It's really interesting, and it's a heck of a great challenge question. So I definitely think it should be B2B. And I think you're on the right track in approaching Brightview and Sunrise. And I wonder if you could propose as part of your value proposition to these companies, the fact that it really differentiates them, but on day one, Tuesday mornings from 9 to 1, you'll be there to have 6 one-on-ones with seniors who are interested for free. I'm making this up a little bit, but I think you have to create a little demand. And then once you have this program going for Brightview, you might say that to them that, gosh, Sunrise has been bugging me because I also talk to them. So we have to get into a paid relationship. I'm just building a scenario, but offering, not only are you differentiating whether it's the Sunrise unit and grow it to 2 or 3 units so that all of a sudden someone in regional at a Sunrise is seeing you. Giving free sessions as a starter to build demand, and then the older people are at lunch and they, oh, I met with Nicole, she'll be back next Tuesday. And so if you can prove demand on a local level, you'll get eyeballs looking at you. And that will be proving your value. And that may be less expensive than all of the physical networking, social media and stuff, because you'll get proof of concept.
Okay, so I know the workshops are good. So you're suggesting to go to someplace like a Sunrise, for instance, and offering once a week, once a month, whatever the time frame is, to offer free nutrition consults to their independent residents between this time and this time for an X amount of time, just to gauge whether the interest is there and show the demand for. Okay, no, that's a good idea. I haven't thought about that one.
Good.
I'm gonna go next. Then there'll be Carolyn, Jen. I think I'll take Tess before because she hasn't gone yet. And Dan, have you gone yet? I think you did. Okay, so it's gonna be me, then Tess, then the rest of you guys. And I've got a quick list because my brain's been going nuts. Nicole, I'm your market. I'm the type 2 diabetic. I've kind of come to a lot of really great solutions I'd love to discuss with you, but the things I've written down, sponsors or sponsorships, or if it's not sponsors for some of the things you want to do, you can get money behind it, that with organizations that like maybe Signet or somebody that may want to help spread your word. I also wrote down a couple other things. One of the big problems, which is different than this, but you may be able to capture it into some of it, is seniors are lonely. And if you make food fun with companionship and other types of things, it might be something to build into it. I added in the community senior centers, that I know that a lot of communities have a senior center where seniors can go to, in addition to the caregivers. I also put down as a thought, you might want to come up with a program with certified training, and that you might want to give certification to other folks with whatever you're doing down the road. So that's not immediate, but a way to grow your business and take it to the next level. Well, on that same line, I wrote, write a book and speaker. I also thought with the senior homes that you're already in, you might be able to do a monthly orientation program, which would also bring value add to the homes, as well as the idea of getting it on the website. And this is part of the program and all the other types of things. So that's my laundry list. Love to talk to you more, because I've recently, my A1C now is 5.3. It hasn't been confirmed by my doctor, but I do it every day and my iPhone measures it and tells me where I am. I've also lost some weight. So I've figured out a few things that are dropping my A1C and maybe getting me off metformin that may be useful. So there may be tips and things that you can put together. A lot of it's listening to your body. But anyway, let me go on to everybody else so everybody else gets a chance to talk. And if we could chat later, that would be great.
Okay, awesome. So real quick, you're saying sponsors. So things like other businesses, like you mentioned insurance and things like that to sponsor a program.
Possibly. Also, I come out of the CPG, consumer products industry, and there may be some CPG companies that may want to get behind this and test, that make products for seniors, that may want to sponsor some of the things, especially when if you're doing, let's say, a big senior presentation to a group and they're not asking for money, or maybe have a nonprofit type of overlay that are going to get people to come to it, as well as that maybe something goes towards training seniors how to eat better or whatever it might be. But yes.
Okay. I didn't think of that. Thank you.
So next we've got Tess, who hasn't gone yet. And welcome, Tess.
Thank you. Just a reminder to save the chat, because there's some really good information in there. I've added in there, what you might want to do is to put yourself in some of these senior events. There are a lot of, in Fairfax County, a lot of the individual cities within that, within the county or Loudoun County, wherever, you're close to me actually in Reston. You want to check and see what kind of activities that they're having, special events. Sometimes they're like day-long events. Sometimes it's a whole weekend. I know that in the city of Fairfax, they recently had a whole day for seniors, and it was basically for aging in place. So there are a lot of, retirees, empty nesters, seniors who don't necessarily want to go into the facility, but they were looking for different alternatives of how to become healthier so that they don't have to transition necessarily into one of the senior communities with assisted living. So to get yourselves in front of that, within your target audience, you might actually want to check out the link. The Fairfax County link is actually what I provided, but within there, they've got, plan for 50 plus, plan for 60, plan for 65 and up. But sometimes it's the couples, a lot of the older demographic. What we found out from the Aging in Place event that the city of Fairfax did, what we found out there is a lot of these older demographics, they do things with like a circle. So that might be like a circle of 6 or 8. That might be manageable for you to, that team that these people kind of hang out together. And that might be a great place to start, because then it's a little bit more grassroots, but they're more apt to do it if they're doing it with like their friends. So that's just a suggestion, and as far as trying to get out in front of a target audience.
Okay, thank you so much. And you said you put the link in the chat for?
Yes, the link
Fairfax?
is for the Fairfax County older adults. So they're different programs. It's all for your specific demographic.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. Next we have Carolyn, and then we have Jen, and then we have Dan.
Thanks, Melinda. Just a real quick note, something that came up as we were talking is that you can potentially, since you're already with Brightview, you can potentially do some of their intake sessions with them for prospective clients. And so even if they don't come into Brightview, you may be able to get some secondary interest from people that may want to hire you on a one-on-one versus coming into the system. So that's another way for you to, one, get your message out to a new group of people, while also being able to work your contract with Brightview and maybe get some additional support or options on the way out.
That's
Thanks.
a good idea. So the intake, as far as how they do prospective lunches and they take them out for lunch or dinner. No, I think that's a good idea, because that'll say, hey, and meet our on-site nutritionist and all that. So, that's an awesome idea.
Exactly.
Next, we have Jen Dalton.
Hello again, Nicole. So I put a couple of ideas in chat. One is around talking with John Norris, who is one of our regular attendees. He knows a ton about Medicare. That's what his company does, and he can help you understand if that's a potential, insurance coverage through Medicare for what you do. He also does a lot of speaking at senior facilities, which I think might be a way for you to potentially partner together and do workshops. The other thing I would suggest is, yes, you can market within the facilities. However, you also want people like estate planning attorneys, financial planners, CPAs, bankers, people who are going to have to help finance people going into assisted living, realtors, even as people are downsizing, because they're people who can help tee you up and give out your information as part of that planning process too. And then you might want to do something a little bit different, to Dan's point. Maybe you start targeting people before they go into assisted living, right? So I don't know, maybe you do nutrition plans for pickleball players, whatever. But I would think about how can you get in front of some groups earlier so that they know about you and they love to work with you and they want to work with you before they transition in as well, when they still have a really strong voice around here's who I want to work with. So just something to think about.
No, that's a bunch of fair points. Just trying to, my wheels are spinning about marketing before you get into the homes, like nutrition to stop assisted living.
Well, we don't want to have you go against the people who are also hiring you, but a good example would be Care with Love, which is a company that provides caregiving to people who are trying to age in place. Gotcha. That would be a good feeder before they need to transition to, gosh, now you're actually at a point where you need to be in assisted living. So just something to think about.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we've got Jen, and then we have Dan.
I get to follow the immutable Jen Dalton. Hey, so I put this, thanks, Nicole. I put this in the chat. You may want to think about aligning yourself with, there are physicians and chiropractors who are more nutrition, the value of nutrition, and they have that mindset. So, and plus they have, if the right one of those providers may have a lot of customers that they have in mind that they can refer to you, and they can also handle the billing. Now, with insurance billing and Medicare, it's like you bill $100 and then they want to pay you $25, and so you have to decide whether you want to work within the traditional medical world or not, right? Because that's the challenge there that we ran into, is that everyone loved nutrition information and we would help people achieve results they never had before, but they didn't want to pay for it, and insurance was really reluctant to reimburse for it as well. So anyway. Those are the things that you have to decide who you want to market to and who you want your customer to be.
Okay.
The people that pay, the people that pay are the people who don't.
Right. So right now I can't bill insurance, and I don't know that I want to get into that game. And unfortunately, I've had physicians refer patients to me, and even with the prescription for weight loss to talk to me, they still couldn't get reimbursed from their insurance company. So unfortunately, weight loss, even for a medical condition, even prescribed by a doctor, a lot of times isn't even covered through insurance.
That was the issue that we ran into years ago. And they would easily cover a prescription in case of Melinda, you talked about type 2 diabetes, a prescription for metformin and all the tests and all the A1C, they would cover that, but they would not cover nutrition, assessment and advice. But so you have to go into it eyes wide open.
Right.
Can I add in there that when I was diagnosed as a diabetic, it included 4 nutrition meetings or whatever that my insurance covered, and that was Cigna. So there may be something as doctors, and maybe you can do things online and make it reasonable where, and again, I don't know how you would get that to be covered by insurance, but if you're allowed for, and if you're a certified program that Signet might approve, maybe they would even recommend it, or any other insurance companies.
Yeah.
So I think if there are no other questions.
Yeah, I was just going to go on and give it to Jen for the last question of the day. And then I'll pass it back to you.
Nicole, what else can our community do to help you?
No, this has actually been really great. There was a lot of good advice and tips that I haven't thought of. And it seems like definitely a great group. I knew some people before coming on the call, but no, this has been super helpful, and I appreciate all the feedback and the willingness to talk with me after the fact. Because this is a passion of mine, and I can tell it's near and dear to a lot of people's hearts on this call too. So this was definitely super helpful. So thank you.
Absolutely. And we'd love to have you come back and give an update in a couple of months on how things have progressed and how our feedback helped, etc. So thanks. John, back over to you.
Great. So Nicole, not only can you come back in a couple of months to give us an update, you may attend every Wednesday, because we need you and your colleagues and friends to attend every Wednesday so that you can give insights to our next presenters. So kudos to you, Nicole. This was a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate you opening your heart and mind on your important subject to us. And to everyone, thank you for attending today. Well, there are a few slides besides thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, we can move to the next slide. Oh my goodness, next week's presenter, the one and only Carolyn Mack, Dr. Carolyn Mack. And you can hear her insights when she speaks during other people's or after other people's presentations. So she's sharp and she's going to be amazing. And Carolyn, thank you for stepping up. Okay. So Tess, would you like to jump in and tell us about, oh, no, sorry, this is just presenters. Okay. So July, we have Carolyn, and then July 26th, we're wide open. Now, rumor has it that one of our great leaders, I won't mention his name, but he happens to be wearing a hat, has agreed sometime in the near future, maybe early August, to do a presentation. I don't know who that guy could be, but we'll wait. We haven't secured that date yet. Please, if you know people who might be good people to present, please recommend them. Tess, now, if you'd like to share any upcoming events.
Sure. You're going to be able to find several events. A lot of our events are actually advertised on the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce website under events, but these are some that are highlighting. Later on today, the Northern Virginia Virtual Business Roundtable will be meeting. They do meet weekly. And then there are the Central Fairfax Business After Hours is going to be happening tomorrow. And then they're looking forward to, on the 25th, they're also going to have a networking at 9. So if you look at the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce, there are weekly meetings, for example, in Fairfax with the Rotary. Sometimes they have just some networking things, or some of the businesses are actually hosting some of their events. So their member businesses open those also to the public. So if you are looking for a way to network with businesses or get together with other business owners, check out the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce events link. And then also in the Woodbridge area, there is a veterans pop-up. That's a good way for you to go down and support some veterans. They've also expanded that a little bit. It used to just be on Saturdays and Sundays, but they've expanded it now and they've got like an open mic going on. And during the open mic, they have opened, some of the veteran-owned businesses have opened up their little shop type of things, or little pop-up shops. So it's a great way for you to Either one, just have an experience to gather and support these veteran-owned businesses, or two, check out and get some shopping done. Maybe get some little gifts done for personal things, or to give your work colleagues or employees. So that's it for events for this week.
Thank you, Tess. So this group already knows that we'd love to have some more organizers, and we look forward to your input and recommendations, and please feel free to step forward. Next slide. Everyone in this group, I didn't know originally that I should, like, in my LinkedIn profile, add 1 million cups. And I learned that a while ago, but maybe that's, if you haven't thought of it, it's a good idea. And also the QR code is a great way to immediately give someone the QR code if they're going to present, if they need to register or whatever, want to follow us, or join, whatever it's called when you become a 1 million cups registrant. Okay. It's all right there. So just take that QR code and hand it to other people. Next slide, please. So again, thank you. Really important that this core group stays together. And not being solicitous, I think everyone in the room is a friend, which I love.